What's going on, boys? What's going on, guys? Joey here with Flex Training Systems and the Twitch chat. Today we are talking about what is on the screen in front of you. When should you adjust your block? As with most of my videos as of late, usually a lifter of mine will say something that inspires me to make an entire video on it. Basically, anytime I respond to them with 10 minutes of audio, I could just turn that into a video, so that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to provide a little bit of context for what we're talking about, sort of paint a picture, and then describe, you know, in what scenarios should you adjust your training block, and meaning you're going to manually go in and you're going to say, okay, what we're doing is no longer conducive to where we're going, where we want to go, and now we're going to make changes in order to support that, right? Because at the end of the day, we want to keep things moving forward. So when should you adjust a training block? Let's paint a picture. You got a new lifter, right? Inexperienced lifter, maybe intermediate lifter, and they're training, and they have a bad day, right? They have a day where they're not strong. They are, you know, so they hit up their coach and they say, hey, I had a bad day. Can I reduce my training days or something like that? I go through a checklist, a mental checklist, but I also have provided for you guys a list of shit to track. I go through that checklist and I find, okay, you know, is this a one-time thing? One, if it's a one-time thing, the likeliness of me changing the block is probably not going to happen. First, we want to look at everything going on outside of the gym. What is your recovery like? Sleep, water, food, stress. Did you just break up with, you know, with your boyfriend? Did you just break up with your girlfriend? Did you get cut from a team? Did you get fired from your job? Did you get in a car accident? All of these things play a role. Did you move? Right? Are you depressed? All these other, all this stuff. It all plays a role, right? If all those things are good, right? Let's say that we need all those things to be, you know, somewhere between a 7 and a 9 in order for us to really just manipulate training, right? Meaning if all of those things, if you have like a meter, 10 is like perfect, and you're somewhere between a 7 and a 9, 7 and a 10, whatever, then you're going to make progress just fine, and you could really just focus on training, and the feedback from your training is going to be the main variable that's changing, right? Because training is like, basically a training is just applying stress and removing stress. So assuming all those things are in order, then we start to look at training. Okay, let's look at the training. Did we have 3 weeks of rising momentum and we reached a point where you're no longer able to recover from the work you're doing, and then you had your first sort of down day or bad in quotations day? Yes, okay. You know, let's leave it there. See if you can adapt. See if your body can get stronger. You need to feel resistance. You need to do more than what you're used to doing in order to improve. Right? Did we deload and then you had a meet and then you took a week off and then you're trying to come back and you're weak as hell and now you're worried about it, or your first week back, you're weak? You know what I mean? It's going to take time to build back up. What often happens with lifters that kind of panic or they worry is let's say you had 3 weeks of consecutive increase on singles, then you have the 1 week where you had a bad week, because the lifter is so emotional or they're so caught up in that moment, in that one workout, which in the grand scheme of things, one bad workout, right, in quotations, it doesn't mean that much. It's just information. It's not that big a deal. You need it's important to be aware of it, see if that's happening over time. But one bad day is not worth completely revamping everything. Context matters, right? Context is very important. Understanding, why do I feel this way? If the why is training related and it's intentional, great, stay with it. You got to hang in there. You know, nothing worth having ever came super easy. So you kind of hover around that level of stress, and what you're going to start to see, maybe you need to up your food, whatever. Maybe you need to adjust those other variables. I don't want to get too much into those because I did an entire video on it. You should watch it. It's really, really good. Anyway, let's assume those things are on point. You increase your food, whatever, then you start recovering. Now you're recovering to more work than you've ever done before, and you start to see like, okay, I'll have 3 good weeks, I'll have a bad week, I'll have an okay week, and then I'll have a good week again, and then another good week again. And then depending on what you're doing with volume, if you're pulling the volume down, Sean, if you're in chat right now, you've heard me talk about this before. Sean Weiss, shout out. shout out, get that clout numbers up, right? If we bring the stress up, you might have some rough days, right? Your singles are doing this, then you pull it down. Exactly, you're gonna pull that volume down. You're gonna keep those singles there, and what's gonna happen is over time that single is gonna go up. It's not gonna do it forever. Eventually, if you just keep pulling shit down, your singles are gonna peak at a point, and then it's gonna start to drop off. That's why, like, usually your second or third week, your second week, yeah, and third week after a meet, you don't feel as good as you did on meet day. If you feel good the week after the meet, you fucked up your taper. You just fucked up your peak. If you know what I mean, you should leave it all on the platform, and then you're just toast right after that. Now, some people can maintain this top end strength longer than others. That is a completely different video, so I don't want to get too much into that. But yeah, so you have to understand, why am I having this bad day, right? Context matters a lot. We already went over that. You want to look for trends. We kind of touched on that briefly. So thank you for the Twitch Prime sub, Red Hood. Almost a whole year of subs. Thank you, brother. So we want to make sure that if you're having that one bad day, we make note of it, and then we check the next week and see what's happening. If you're going down and down and down and down, then either what you're doing exceeds what you're able to handle, and now you're just going to get weaker and deteriorate over time. Or maybe, like, I'll have lifters say, hey, I have to move everything. There's a hurricane coming, and I just got in a car accident, and, like, I'm hurt. But they can still train or something like that. Now, like, there's external things that we can't, there's nothing I can do about it, right? I could have them deload all I want, and, you know, they're probably just not gonna, they're not gonna be able to operate at the level that they need to in order to get stronger. Dieting is a big one. There are ways to diet and maintain yourself just fine, but oftentimes while dieting, especially if it's like, you know, you're down 30 pounds, now your leverages are different, you don't have as much weight on you, you probably lost a little bit of lean mass, sometimes it happens. You're not going to lift as much as you did before, so you need to, like, reset your expectations, right? Again, we're getting into, like, weird territories, so I don't want to go too far into that. I already gave you guys an example. The goal of adjusting the block should be to, if you're using singles or just looking at training performance, you want to bring that performance back up. So we're going to manipulate the amount of work that you're doing to allow you to, you know, operate at a certain level of strength, or be able to display a certain level of strength. And then for how long you want to do that, those are, you know, that now we're getting to, like, the customization of training and things like that. Feedback is absolutely key. If you don't have feedback, that isn't, I mean, honestly, feedback that is emotionally driven is still useful, right? Because you can learn the tendencies of the lifter, and then you can understand when this person goes through X amount of stress, they're going to start to feel this way, and no matter what I give them, they're going to have a negative attitude towards it, and that's something that they can work on. I am very thankful for my lifters that are very emotional, that are very cerebral, that are very hard to work with, because if I can handle them, everything else is a breeze. I can think of some people that I've worked with, that I'm still working with, that have come a very long way and just emotionally grown to these strong, you know, very strong, confident lifters that they are now. But in the beginning, it was so hard to tame them. It was so hard just to get their mind in the right space, right? And I think a lot of it, there's a lot of different reasons for why you have a bad day and freak out, but usually it comes from, you want to be this thing, or you want to set this expectation, or you want to live up to this talk, or you want to live up to this image that you have of yourself, and when you are unable to fulfill that, even if it's temporary, it starts to kind of pull you down a little bit, right? So it's very important to, you just gotta tell people, you gotta understand, hey, it's a process. You're gonna have ups, you're gonna have downs. You know, it's definitely not gonna be perfect. Yes, there's gonna be people, especially on social media. If you follow thousands of people, if there's thousands of people, you know, out there that are all powerlifting, a couple of them are gonna have, you know, 8 weeks of just, like, great training, right? But it's gonna be temporary. It's never gonna be, you know, eventually in their career, they're going to get to a point where now you're going to have to fight to make progress, right? You're not going to hit PRs all the time. You're literally pushing the barriers. You know, when I think of some of my lifters that hit, like, Keiko, Amanda, Russ. You know, I'm forgetting the name. Has Jesus hit world records? Junior world records? He has. I'm pretty sure he has. Yeah, you know, just my lifters that hit world. They're literally hitting world records in training. This is not normal. This is not an easy thing to continue to push. You know, like when you think about it, powerlifting is kind of nuts. You just what do you want from your body? I want infinite strength. I want to get strong forever, right? We always say a goal. We want a goal. We want to hit at this total, whatever. But once you hit that total, you want more. I mean, unless you're like me, I've been doing this a long time. You know, what I hit my last meet, 1881, something like that. I'm cool with that. I know I could have done more. I got food poisoning the week before a bunch of shit happened. I still PR'd my total. I'm chilling, you know. I don't like regret anything. I'm very happy because I never thought I would ever get that far, and I just like exceeded everything I thought I was gonna get, and then I ended up getting to a point, and I'm just like, dude, for my frame, I'm not the biggest guy. I'm a big guy, but I'm not the biggest guy. You know what I mean? And I was able to achieve that, and it just, I hope in seeing what I've been able to do and how I posted a 617 squat on my Instagram the other day. I squat over 130 pounds more than that, 133 pounds more than that. I'm not letting it bother me. I know when the time is right, and I got spotters, and I'm there, and I got the energy, and I'm at zoo, and you know, my people around me, I'll blow something up. But for now, I'm just, you know, I'm very used to humbling myself just to kind of move on. So if I have a bad day, in quotes, I just roll with the punches and move on, and I don't let how I feel in training affect my mood as a person or tear me down or anything like that. So you don't want to change your training too early. So yeah, what are the takeaways, right? You don't want to change your training too early because you may actually have something really solid in front of you, and because you're always making changes based on one day or very small amounts of information, completely disregarding the good, which is very common with, like I said, very emotional lifters, you're throwing away all this foundation that you built. You're setting yourself up. You're creating this environment to set up for a big PR, right? Why are the, you know, 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out, 5 weeks out? Why are those weeks so hard, right? Maybe not 5 weeks out, but, you know, weeks 4 to 2 weeks out. Why are those weeks so hard? Because we're setting ourselves up. Cam Wilson, if you're in chat right now, I was kicking your ass, man. I was giving you work those last weeks coming into this meet, and you kind of slogging on them singles. Oh, he's right here. He's slogging on those singles, and you know, we're hitting 585, and it's like moving all right, and you know, deadlift singles or whatever, and then meet day comes around, and you literally don't even know what to do with yourself because your strength is just like I did not have this power all the last 2 months, and I have it now. You know what I mean? You're setting yourself up for that one day. That's what peaking is about. It's a process, and I always tell my new people, if you haven't gone through that, I'm gonna take you on a ride. We're gonna go on this roller coaster, and if you haven't seen it and you haven't gone through it, I could tell you it's coming, but you gotta experience it. And once you experience it, it's gonna give you this confidence that I couldn't have said it to you and you got it. I mean, maybe I can. Some people they just trust me and they get it, but some people they worry and they're like, "Fuck, I'm so weak right now," and then they disappear or they go MIA. And you know what I mean? But it's like if you would have just followed through, you'll see that there's a reason for everything. So it's okay to feel it a little bit. If you're doing a lot of work and your singles are kind of lagging, that's fine. You're doing more than you've ever done. That, you know, they're kind of maintaining, right? Maybe you're hitting like close to an opener, but you're doing PRs on volume. That's a really, really, really good sign. When you pull that volume down, you're going to hit something big. So you want to, context is key. You know, if you're going to change your training block, it's got to be like showing a bad trend over time that is not desirable to the end goal. This is not a decision that you just want to do. You don't want to be wishy-washy. You know, people do yo-yo diets. You don't want to do, you know, yo-yo programs where you're doing one program, then you're doing another program, and doing another program. You're not going to get anywhere. So yeah, that's it. If you guys are able to take something away from this video, hashtag, what's the hashtag, chat? What are we going to do? Hashtag stay in the pocket. Fuck it. Hashtag stay in the pocket in the comments down below. And Yeah, guys, thank you so much for being here, and I'll talk to you in the next one.